Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hand of Fate. I'm Nai.
I'm Mako, and we are once again into the breach to try and get our next dose of Shadow Agent.
Yep, which is working out pretty well. We're still on Shadow Agent 2, but at least we've gotten some stuff done. Gotta remember to get that Guildmaster's ring.
At their heart,
So that's gonna be, hey look, we got a shield!
are about
Yay! And the Headman's Blessing when I start with a sword, and we got let's see, Emberhound Town Hero and Ratman Hunting are the other two things on this floor. So Ember Town Hero moved up.
And see, that's interesting though. Did you notice that one of the interesting side effects of your thing is when your thing, not the mask, is if you get shuffled by a field of poppies, you can still tell where some stuff is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually looking for that, actually. I was watching because I was kind of curious if that would move. I just don't consider that to be just an amazing thing, personally. I don't think that's a really particularly useful feature. But then again, I don't really care if a card has a chance event. I care about succeeding the chance event. Normally, even if I know what's coming, I'm not focusing on success because of chance event, honestly.
Fair enough.
Okay, I got a question for you, Mako.
Hmm?
This question came up at work because one of my coworkers is a really big comic book nerd, and I'm decidedly not. But you know, questions come up, and we were talking about this. We were talking about Daredevil.
Daredevil. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I should note I'm not a comics book reader. Like I've read a couple, but I'm really more of a manga person.
Yeah, but I'm sure you know Daredevil, right?
I am familiar with the story at least.
Okay, have you seen the Ben Affleck movie?
No, I have not.
That's a shame because that would have made this conversation a little bit easier.
I don't make things easy for you. You should know that.
That is also true. So, but you know Daredevil as like a concept, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was talking to my coworker, and Daredevil came up, and we were talking about Daredevil's strengths and weaknesses, right? Because we were having a discussion, something about we were having some sort of discussion about superheroes and what makes them interesting. Which I can't remember exactly where the topic came up from, but you know, bear with me. And so we brought up the concept that, you know, one of Daredevil's big things that he's blind, right? That's his big major defining feature, right? Except it doesn't matter one iota because his echolocation that he does is better than vision. He can see better than I can.
He can see where things are around him that you wouldn't see even if you had eyes.
Right. So that makes it so he actually not only doesn't have a weakness, he actually has a strength better than most of his enemies. Like, does that make sense? I mean,
To a degree.
To a degree?
The shtick is like he's got hypersenses, if you can call it that. Holy patronage. Do you have enough money for
Yep.
that? Yes, you do. He's got hypersenses, but oh, you can get a pick.
I'll pick Wizard Eater.
I
That's
made
good.
that.
Apologies to anybody who can hear that. It's at the time of recording, it's fireworks season apparently, and I can do nothing about it. I don't even you get to watch it. Like I've been looking out my window and I don't know where it's going off.
No worries.
But yeah, but I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, his thing is his
White
his shtick
Council
is sort
4.
of,
Hold on. On a fine sunny day, you set out into the forest, hidden in a barrel on the wagon of Terran the Merchant. Your destination is the White Council's stronghold. After what seems like hours, a deep voice calls out, "Halt!" Terran yelps in surprise, and the wagon stops. You hear Terran greet someone, "Ah, hello, lord, I have your usual shipment here, nothing interesting to say about it." You cringe in your barrel. "Is that so?" the other voice remarks, casually, before falling silent for some time. Then, "Here's your payment," and you hear the click of gold coins. I don't know how you can tell they're gold just from the click, but there you go. Suddenly, there's a blinding white light. When your vision clears, you dare to look out from your place of concealment. You see that you and all the stock from Terran's wagon are now sitting in the middle of a stone hall inside a circle of runes and symbols. A trio of poorly dressed goblins set to work, sorting everything into a storage room to one side under the supervision of a bored-looking mage. We'll attempt to sneak away. Oh, good. This is what I need right now.
Choose from these options.
Okay, regular success. You manage to sneak into a shadowy alcove where you hope to wait, undetected, until the goblins complete their labors and you can leave. You soon discover that the tower is a sprawling maze of passages and chambers, many more than could actually fit inside the structure you saw from a distance. You are inexplicably drawn to a bare stone chamber with an opening to the sky above. You watch as a magician summons an enormous scaled creature into existence. Its form seems mainly to be comprised of vicious-looking claws, gnashing teeth, and writhing tentacles. You feel dizzy just watching it.
1d6 sand loss.
It lunges, biting and slashing at the wizard, but backs away when he raises an ornately decorated skull. The wizard addresses the creature. You will go into the city of Kader and kill the Duke. The creature's unblinking eyes gaze in every direction at once, and its sinister voice resonates from a dozen mouths. How has he wronged you? It hisses. Or is this more wisdom from the benevolent council? He foolishly questions my will, as do you, the wizard responds, holding the skull higher. Go, I command it. The beast retreats once more, rasping, Beware, Zahagan, the bones of my true master will not protect you forever. One day you will slip and drop them, and then I shall have you in my claws. Your threats are hollow, demon, and serve only to delay your departure. The mage stops abruptly. What are you up to? He mutters, then quickly looks around the room in alarm. His gaze comes to rest directly on you, watching from the shadows. Well, there's only one good choice here. Attempt to knock the skull from his hands. Okay, so let's just avoid that huge failure. Let me go over here. You send your weapon flying across the room, crashing into the skull and knocking it to the floor. The mage looks from the fallen skull to you, and then to the beast. His mouth opens. Before he can utter a word, a dozen tentacles descend upon him. I just lost my sword. A loud bell begins ringing through the halls. More robed figures appear from glowing portals to aid their leader. You flee the room as the sounds of fire, magic, and teeth do battle. The sounds do battle, not the fire, magic, and teeth. Under the cover of the chaos you have sown, you manage to loot a magical artifact of some kind from an unoccupied laboratory before being spotted. There's an intruder in the lab, a magician calls in the doorway. No time for that now, someone else yells. Just expel it before it damages something important. I'm an it. One of the magicians casts a spell, and you find yourself standing in the forest of the tower just visible in the distance. The guard's token is now mine. Wow, that was a long one. Okay, well, you have a token.
No fight.
I'm assuming that I would have gotten a fight if
If you'd ballsed up any of those.
Yeah.
The deeper you go,
Especially that second to last one.
things become.
I'm kind of wondering what would have happened if you'd flubbed the knock the skull out of his hands.
I think I would have had to fight a kraken. That's what I was guessing. Let's see. Soldier's ring. Not even a question. Okay, so we were talking about Daredevil.
Right. I was saying, yeah, I'm familiar with the story, and like his thing is hypersenses, but beyond that, I think he's got like really good reflexes too.
Yeah, he's got like super reflexes because of the stuff that robbed his sight.
But beyond that, like he's no more durable.
Think about
What beyond that? What? He's in the DC universe. You don't need anything else. He's better than freaking Batman. He's just not as rich.
one has to wonder how it is
Well, he's a
possible
lawyer.
to truly lose.
Yes, but remember, he also tends to do pro bono work for the poor.
Mm.
But I mean, he just doesn't. He doesn't. Like, there's nothing special about him, which is what drives me nuts about his character. We were talking. I actually said, I would much rather. I want to hear the story of. You get free dragon breath. Cool. I want to hear the story of Kingpin. That's the movie I want to see. I don't want to see. I don't have any interest in Daredevil because he is such a Mary Sue. He's. Let's see. Didn't get anything out of them. Here, half my gold. He's a really nice guy who does good things for everybody, and he's focused on justice, and he's got powers, but I want to see Kingpin, who's the big badass, who all he is just a big badass who apparently is very good at business. That's the character I want to see. I want to see what he's up to. I want to see what his story is. And my coworker didn't agree with me. He he felt that Daredevil still felt like a good character, And I don't deny it, I just think he's not interesting.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't comic books, but he's certainly among the ones I don't like even begin to get attention drawn to.
I think it's one of those things that it may work better in book form than on movie form, which is the only place I've actually seen him. But it's just, when you have a character who is basically perfect, there's not really much you can do with them. You know? I mean, yes, the whole sight thing becomes a cool gimmick for a while until you realize that he's not missing anything. Hell, they even make a big deal about that in the movie. All he has to do is have it rain, all of a sudden he can see the woman's face. Which, okay, so just go have, like, amazing shower sex and you miss nothing. I thought you'd like that. But I mean, that's the end point, and I think that's the problem with a lot of the superheroes. We were having a discussion over the fact that you know, a lot of people would in like a Batman versus Superman, a lot of people think Superman should win no matter what. But the problem is also that's boring. Like it really is. It's the reason why I'm more interested in someone like Deadpool than someone like Superman, because Deadpool at least has faults and a fair amount of them. And that's a more interesting person to watch. I don't want to watch Superman. He's a goody two-shoes. He always wins. And he's basically impossible to defeat.
I was going to say, Deadpool has a crap ton of faults, chief among them being the fact that he is certified.
Being the fact that he's Deadpool, yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's what makes Tony Stark a more interesting superhero. Partially because the fact that he's not super in any way, shape, or form except for his wallet. I think that's part of what attracts me to him. But it's just that, you know, he definitely has faults. He's a womanizer. He's a drunk. He, you know, he thinks he's selfish. You know, there's a lot of these things that just like, this is him. And it makes him just feel more interesting. Also, Blunted Aura right now is really a pain in the ass. The one good side of this is that I have the axe, the Headsman's Blessing right now, so the fact that I'm using an axe is not the worst thing in the world. Man, the music actually dimmed down there for a second, because even the music was saying, okay, this should be over by now.
Oh, wait, you're still going? Crap.
Yeah, I was still going. Okay. We got nothing out of it.
But that's one of the reasons, like, the only two Western comics I really liked were Transmet and Ex Machina, and I never even managed to get through Ex Machina.
And I did just reread Transmet, and actually Transmet I loved. Like, that was one of the, probably one of the best pieces of, like, literature in general. Probably, maybe not even just best literature, that might be one of the best stories I've ever read.
The main character is a jackass, a rampant drug abuser, but he's still ultimately just a guy who's trying to do the right thing.
Well, he very much has, you know, heart of gold, like, statement. There are a couple times, you know, you see he's a jackass a lot. He really is abhorrent in a lot of ways. But then you have certain stories where you go, Jesus Christ, why is this man, like, he's the total Batman type hero. He's the hero that we need at the time that we need him. Especially as, there's two spots that I remember specifically. I'm gonna get hit by that. There's two spots I remember specifically. One of them, it's talking about a mom who's, pawning her daughter's stuffed animal because they need money. Not because they're going to get food, but because she's going to buy a genetic enhancement to her daughter to make it so her daughter doesn't feel hungry anymore. She doesn't even have enough money for food. She's going to make it so her daughter's not hungry and then figure out food after that. And what ends up happening is during the course of this story, the daughter, and I forget what Spider's talking about at the time, but the daughter gets lost, and her mom, she can't find her mom. And Spider finds her, And the daughter immediately recognizes who Spider is and knows that she can stay with him and she'll be safe. Which, if you know Spider, you'd sit here going, what are you smoking, girl? How could you be safe with him? And then you realize that, well, actually, no, this is absolutely legit. Spider would take care of her over anything. And he continues to say so. She actually says, you know, I forget the exact sentence she says. It's like, Spider, will you help me, or something like that. And he responds, why do you think I've stayed here all these years? Because he hates the city he's in. And then he proceeds to go and, if nothing else, he buys the stuffed animal back for her from the pawn shop. Which just goes to show you his level of character. And then you see background of Spider. You know, there's a lot of times when you see him become more human. And he has some things you're sitting there going, okay, this is a little bit superhuman of the man. But
he's also hopped up on God knows what.
Yeah. But then the book really tries, the comics really try to explain that. Things like a lot of medical processes that allow him to get over and through some of the stuff he's doing.
Also the fact that he says, like, this is the game. You know, we should probably qualify, like, what this comic book is, because there are people who may not have actually read it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't read Transmetropolitan, you really need to go read Transmetropolitan. It's a fantastic, I think it's 10 issues long comic book written by Warren Ellis, who I believe is, I forget what else Warren has done. He's done, he's a superhero writer, and he's done it for years. And I want to say, like, he's done Superman, things like that, but I can't remember.
He's done a lot of stuff.
He's done a lot of stuff. And what's interesting about Transmetropolitan is that it's a simple story about freedom of speech and rights of the press. That's if you want to take the entire story arc and distill it down to base concepts, that's what it is. It is a story talking about freedoms of speech, freedom of the press, and what happens if you try to stop those in the United States. And it's set in a futuristic world. So far in the future, in fact, they don't know what year it is anymore.
It's implied to be a couple hundred years in the future, but they don't know how far, because at some point real soon there was relative. There was, what was it? They call it the history crash or history incident. Basically, the vast majority of recorded history was destroyed, and people just never bothered to keep going. They rate time relatively.
Yeah.
Like the example he gives is 3 years since that Popeye caught on fire on stage.
Exactly. And so he's in what's known as the city, which is this gigantic, sprawling metropolis. I actually got a kind of a Caves of Steel feeling from it, but it's the city is open, but it's a very, very large city, so big that the only name for it is the city. There are other places in the country, so it's not as if, Los Angeles is gone, but this is the one. And the place is completely screwed up. I mean, this is kind of the big deal about the environment that he's in, is that it is so screwed up because of so many cultures getting together, so many different people getting together, things like that. And Spider's really simple. He's just a reporter. But he's a reporter who cares for the truth and nothing but the truth, and will dig as deep as he has to, in a time when reporters don't do that anymore. So, but he hates people in general. He's a complete misandrist. No. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not misogyny, it's not...
Misandrist, I'm pretty sure, is the correct one.
No, misandrist is hatred of men, if I remember correctly. I'm thinking misanthrope. There we go. He's a complete misanthrope. He hates people. Yeah, he hates everybody equally. He's not in any way racist. He hates everybody. He hates everybody. He hates just about everything. He wants nothing more than to be on a mountain in the wilderness, and that will be the last place he is, and he will die up there and never be talked to again. Unfortunately, things don't work out that way. And so he has to return to the city and kind of become a reporter again. And the entire story is it's about the stories that he covers. But things are just extremely screwed up, and they go from bad to worse as he's covering things. And the story literally is nothing more than, this is what happens when the press gets involved, which, a lot of people nowadays actually sit here and we go, you know, this is the press shouldn't be involved. And in fact, the book actually, the story actually comments in the book. And I was when I reread it recently, I was actually kind of amused by this. There's talk recently in the of the 2016 presidential elections for the United States. There was a lot of talk recently about how the press is making the story the press, and not the actual candidates. This is actually a point that comes up in this book, and Transmet was written in the 1990s. So, like, it was, some of the stuff I'm sure was a big deal back then, too, but it's foreseeing some of this. We're gonna die, by the way. But Transmet was seeing some of this, and that makes it really work well. But again, it's also talking about things like what happens when the freedom of the press is infringed upon, and what the press can do just by shining light on things that people in power would much more like to remain hidden. Really, really good book, and very creative too. That's one of the things that really always caught me, is just some of the ideas behind it.
Every now and again it pauses and it tells little side stories too, like Spider will be going on about stuff he remembers from his youth in this city. Or in one case, you go through where he's drugged himself up so far, he's gone and he's taken a little drug break, as his assistants say, and he's having a series of vivid hallucinations and dreams based off of the different things that he's seen and done recently, that all take the form of different television shows and things that he's done lately.
Which makes, and if you read the books, that makes perfect sense too. Like, the things he's imagining in that particular sequence, they make sense, because it seemed like that was something that was actually going to happen. Like, these television events were things that were actually going to occur. So it works out pretty well. Really, really, really good series.
Now, the other series that I rather liked that was Western was, have you ever heard of Ex Machina?
What will you
Nope.
do with that?
There's this guy who works for the who works for the city. I think. Oh God, I'm gonna have to dig it out to figure it out. The short version is that there's a meteorite fall, and it ends up somewhere, and they mistake it for a bomb.
As you do.
And
Goblin King's Halls 3.
So he's one of the people who's called in to take a look at this thing, and it goes off right next to him. Only it doesn't quite explode. It ends up embedding itself in his head.
Okay, hold that thought.
Okay.
Hoy lad, the enigmatic goblin, Mr. Lionel, climbs out of a barrel behind a tavern as you pass through a small village. I've made some refinements to the magic device, and I think we'll do better this time if we take another shot at those treasure vaults. You see, goblins sometimes hide their best treasure, magic items and such like, in enchanted treasure chests. The magic amulet will now reveal these to you if there should a chance be to be one in any treasure vault we happen to visit. What say you, lad? Shall we have another shot at that Goblin King's treasure? Sure. Good lad. Let's go right now. I think I've located one in a desert not far from here. Under the blazing sun of a nameless desert, you and the goblin find a door partially buried beneath the shifting sands. You can keep whatever gold you recover, but remember to look around for treasure chests. They're sure to hold something worthwhile.
So what are we up to this time?
I like the concept of nameless desert. Okay, so I see a treasure chest all the way in the corner there. Okay, so I get to keep any gold I pick up. Ow. Let's not hit things. I could very easily die here. And I'm trying to pick up the gold, but I'm also looking out for the traps. There we go. Treasure chest. Is it the end? No. Okay, we gotta keep going. Damn it. Okay, I got one hit left in me. And I kind of figured that was gonna happen. Well, damn.
Well, you got out of it with a token.
Yes, we did get one token.
Dead. And with an arm.
That was really irritating, because if I had dive rolled to the left, which would have saved me, I would have been shot by the arrows anyways.
Powers yet you haven't used.
I could have waited, but...
Now you're dead.
For raiding the White Council's tower, you receive the Mage Strike and the White Council 5.
Is the Mage Strike an encounter card?
It is not. It's actually an artifact.
Really? Huh. Okay.
three
Oh, right.
uses.
That was the thing you made off with.
Yep. Okay, guys, when we catch you all next time, we'll be continuing. We'll see you soon.